What's good, people? It's Ocean here. Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you're good. Today, I got a special guest, Jay Cactus, producer from Manchester, and he also has his own YouTube channel where he does like tutorials on drill beats, does his own sample packs and everything. And he's got some placements. But yeah, we're going to talk to him today. What's good, bro? How's everything?
What's good, man? I'm all good, bro. How are you?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Been a productive morning so far, so definitely looking forward to talking with you, getting into your story and everything, man.
Definitely, man. It feels weird being on the other side, because I've been doing podcasts myself recently, and obviously you've been on mine as well. Now I'm sitting at the other end. It feels kind of strange.
Yeah. Have you done any other podcasts before?
I've done short 10-minute interviews, but this is my first podcast being a guest on it. Definitely.
Oh, that's good, man. Now it's time to get into your story rather than you hearing about other people's, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, man.
But yeah, man. Let's take it back to the beginning. We got to go to the origin story, because we was talking about it briefly on your podcast, and when you came to the studio last week, we was talking about it briefly. But yeah, let's go back to the beginning, how Jay Cactus became Jay Cactus.
So I want to say, hip-hop's always been a part of my life, as long as I can remember. I have older brothers, and my oldest brother, he was always bumping Nas, Jay-Z, Mobb Deep, Wu-Tang, so he got me into real hip-hop from a young age as well, so I was always just fascinated by it. I think I listened to Nas. Well, them names that I mentioned, they were probably the names I listened to more than anything. And I think I started off as a rapper, trying to write. So I think even from being 14, back when I was in high school, and when I think grime had just come on the scene, I used to write grime tracks. Even though I was always listening to hip hop, I was still writing grime because it was what everyone was doing in school. So that's how it started, just messing about with the boys and everything. And then I did start taking it serious from kind of a young age in a way. I was even going to clashes. I remember being 15, going to other ends to clash over people, and just freestyle clashes as well. I wasn't even writing, because at the time I must have just had a lot more confidence. And I feel when you're young, you just say whatever, don't you? So I had that confidence. I had my boys there who were kind of gassing me up. So yeah, man, I was starting off as an MC in a way. And then maybe I got a little bit older and I was developing my own style. I wanted to spit over more boom bap kind of beats, because that was what I grew up on. So yeah, I dropped a few mixtapes, few EPs. I had an album on iTunes. Even at that time,
is it still out there?
Young, I think I took them down, I'm not gonna lie. I've got a couple on my beat channel. I'll have to send you some. But they were from years back, when I had a different name and everything. So yeah, I had one tune that was on Radio 1 as well at one point. And I remember getting that, and I was just so gassed. I remember hearing it on how did I hear it now? I think the tune was on YouTube, and someone commented saying, "Love this song, I heard it on Radio 1." I was like, what? Yeah. Radio 1? And I couldn't even remember submitting it or anything. So I went back and had a listen. And yeah, I heard the tune, and I was just so gassed to hear myself on radio. That was all I wanted to do. I just wanted to rap. But I had boys around me that were producing as well. So I was always fascinated by it. Everyone, my close boys were using FL. They were showing me how they made beats, how they sampled and everything. And it's the classic producer story. It's I started off as a rapper and I wanted to make my own beats, so I started making beats. And that's what I did, because I was searching for beats. I'd ask my friends to send me beats, or searching online, looking through SoundClick. I don't know if you remember SoundClick.
I wasn't around really in those days, but I've heard about SoundClick a lot.
Yeah,
that was
the
early...
the big thing before BeatStars, basically, the early BeatStars. So yeah, I was using SoundClick at the time, and then I thought, let me just see if my boys can teach me, and I'll just try and make my own beats. So yeah, a couple of my boys, they kind of showed me the ins and outs of FL, how they sampled. And yeah, it just kind of went from there. At the start, I wasn't trying to be a producer. I wanted to be a rapper, but I was fascinated by producing, and the more I got into it, the more I was just this is actually sick. Like I was actually feeling the production side more than rapping. And I
Yeah.
think when you're at that age as well, when you're young, you're always listening to parents and teachers. And in school, like everyone's saying, you know, like music isn't it's not really a real thing. Like you can't have a job in music. Like you need to focus on you getting good grades and going to college, going to uni. And that's all I ever heard from everyone. Sorry, I didn't have anyone saying, "Nah, you need to focus on music." There was no Gary V talking to me saying, "Yeah, I can do anything I believe in." So that's the kind of path I followed. When I finished school, I went to college. At the time, I was kind of good at like computers, you know, from making music. I just knew how they worked, so I was always good in like IT and everything. So I did, I went to college, did like business, web design, some of like computer stuff and media. And then when I finished college, I was like, right, I grew up in Huddersfield, by the way. I don't know if I said that, but when I was in Huddersfield, I finished college and I was like, right, I can either stay in Huddersfield, maybe do music, but you know, it might not work out, or I can do what everyone else has told me and go to uni. And that's what I did. I went to uni in Manchester. That's why I moved up here and did like a multimedia course. And yeah, it was just following that normal path. After uni, got a job straight away. And I was in that job for 5 years. And I always made beats like on the side, but because I never thought that I could make a career out of it. When you're actually in a career and you're working every day, you just kind of treat music like a side hobby. But then once you get a little bit older and you do your own research and your own studying, you know, you're reading books, and then you do have people like Gary V telling you that you can do anything that you want to do. Like, it took a while for me to figure it out, but I was like, you know what? Like, fuck this. There's actually more to life than what I was doing. And at the time, like, it was a good job. You know, if people are happy working a 9 to 5, then, you know, that's cool. But for me personally, it just wasn't. I knew it wasn't my path. Like in the back of my mind, like every day going to work, I just knew that I didn't want to be here. I wanted to be doing something else, like in music. That was the only thing I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So, after 5 years, I'd like saved up some money, and I was like, you know what, it's time to take a chance. I had a few other things happen in my life, which I won't like go into, but you know, sometimes some stuff happens that makes you realize like, right, like life is short, and I didn't want to get to be like 50, 60 and look back and think, you know what, I never even tried. So I thought, you know what, I've got this money saved up here, I'm just gonna take a risk. And I didn't even have like a big plan. Like I told people I had this big business plan, like yeah, I'm gonna do this and that. But really I was just like, fuck this, I'm just quitting and just going all out. So I kind of just threw myself in the deep end and threw myself in a situation where I'd have to force my way into it, if you know what I mean. So I quit my job, didn't have really any income at the start apart from my savings. I was doing like a few little bits here and there just to make money on the side. But I left my job 2019, September 2019. And then I was just all in at that point. I was just like, I became like so obsessed with like production and making it happen. I literally just every day I'd like, you know how it is as a producer, like every day I was either like making beats, like studying, watching tutorials, doing mixing courses, doing marketing, research, like just doing everything, because I just knew, I kind of knew the direction that I needed to go. I never really, like people see like producers as either an industry producer or an online producer, don't they? There's always that thing that's kind of separated us, even though it all comes down to the same thing. But I always wanted to do more of like the online thing, because I'd heard so many stories from the industry producers, you know, saying like the waiting months to get paid. They can work with artists for months and they might not ever release the track on the album. There's a lot of stress. There is a lot of success that can come with it, but I just wanted to be in control of everything. I didn't want to have to rely on anyone else. So that's why I
think that's the big thing about like having it on the internet. You maintain ownership. You're more in control of everything that you got going on, I guess.
100%. And that was the main thing for me. I didn't want to have to rely on anyone. So I saw the opportunities. And I also saw that although there was a lot of people like trying to sell beats online and do type beat channels, there are a lot of people doing tutorials compared to the amount of people that are doing the beat thing. So that's how I saw it. I was just like, you know what, I need to kind of find my own lane in here. And I was just trying anything to do, like anything to get my face out there. I think that's a big thing for producers, because most of us will just kind of hide behind a logo or never really get our voice out there. You know what I mean? We'll just post beats and hope for the best. But I kind of knew what you had to do to make yourself known. It's all about building a personal brand these days, isn't it? So
yeah, true.
I knew the power of social media and getting your face out there, getting people to recognize you. So I was just trying everything at first. I was trying like TikTok videos, you know, the Instagram videos where like you're tapping along to the beat.
Yeah,
classic
yeah.
thing. Yeah, TikTok, Instagram. Obviously, Facebook wasn't really a priority at that point. And then YouTube as well. I had a type beat channel and a tutorial channel. So I thought, let me just try everything. And then whichever one starts gaining traction, I'll just kind of double down on that. And that's what happened with my channel, really. I saw most of the growth from the tutorial channel. So yeah, just kind of doubled down on that, put more energy into it, started investing in like better equipment, trying to make the videos better. And it's been kind of quick, really.
Yeah, it's been really quick, because if you're saying September 2019, that's like a year and a half,
I didn't
maybe.
even start the YouTube channel at that point either. I think it took me another like 6 months to actually start the channel.
Wow, that's
More
really
than that even.
fast.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I can't lie, it's
Man.
been quick. Like I feel blessed. I can't lie. I want to say I feel lucky, but I feel like you create your own luck as well.
Yeah.
Don't you?
I mean, of course, like you've definitely been. It's not like you just sat there and one video blew up. You know, you've been dropping like videos upon videos, isn't it? So
Yeah.
it's the hard work that's paying off. But that's really, really quick, because most people that I speak to, and even myself, like it took me a long time to even see 1,000 subs and then 10,000 subs, and then maybe after that is when it started to pick up.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you've definitely grown quite quickly. What do you think? Why do you think is? I mean, apart from obviously like working hard and stuff, why is there anything that you think you've done that made you kind of, I guess, like speed up the process of growing?
I think so. I think when I started the channel, I was trying to find a pocket. I was asking myself, right, why would people come to me rather than other tutorials? Like, what lane can I fill? And at that time, drill was the main thing that was popping. And everywhere I was looking, there was people doing drill tutorials. Like, obviously, you were doing them. Like, TG Tracks was doing them. But I didn't see anyone that was, like, doing it, like, just drill consistently. Where it was like, right, okay, twice a week I'm going to do a drill video. No one was like, okay, this is the go-to guy for drill. Not that I found anyway, that was like consistent as hell. So I figured that out. I tried a few different things at first as well, like I was doing like trap tutorials and boom bap. But then as I was posting the videos, I kind of knew that the drill ones were like getting the traction and drill was popping at that time. So I think it was that, like finding that lane. And the other thing is I was asking myself, like, right, when I watch tutorials, what annoys me, or what do I think's missing? And I remember when I was like getting started and like trying to learn production, a lot of the videos, a lot of them were like entertaining, like could be someone cooking up a beat. But I used to get frustrated because I'm like, oh, he's doing this, but why is he doing it? He's not explaining it as he goes along, and it gets frustrated, doesn't it? And it's cool, like people will do stuff for like entertainment reasons, and it's sick to watch. But when you're a new producer and you don't know like all the shortcuts and you don't know all the ins and outs or the theory behind it, you want to know. And when you're watching someone doing it, you're just thinking, I wish he'd just explain it. So that's the kind of approach that I took when I started doing like tutorials. Like I think I did what was it now? I think one of the ones to get good views at the start was, I think it was drill 808s, so like a guide to 808s or a guide to drill melodies. And in the melody tutorial, I was like breaking down music theory from what like my piano teacher had taught me. So I wasn't just saying, I'll click this note in. I was saying like, you know, these are the scales, these are the kind of chord progressions that you need. And I was kind of helping people understand like chords and scales like from the basics. So I think because I took that approach and was like, right, I'm going to explain everything as I'm doing it, people learned a lot from it quite early on. And people have always said that to me in messages. They've always said like, you know, I like watching your videos because I actually learn a lot from it. Like you break everything down. So I think the combination of that and finding that pocket of drill has just helped me. I think that's been the main thing, really. definitely. I'm being consistent. Obviously,
Yeah.
consistency is the other thing. I was like, right, I pick a schedule, Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Don't miss it.
Yeah,
Don't ever
yeah,
miss
that
one.
definitely
You know what I
helps.
mean? So
I
I just
think it
kind of
was just
stuck.
like perfect timing
Yeah.
as well when you came in, because drill, I mean, drill's been popular since 2015, but really it's taken off
Yeah.
like early 2020 with like Pop Smoke doing his thing, especially like releasing his second album is kind of when it just went like super mainstream, innit? So
Yeah.
I guess you got in at like the perfect time to be the go-to drill guy, innit?
Yeah, yeah. I remember at the time, like, when Pop Smoke passed away, that was, like you said, that was when it
Yeah.
started going global. Like, obviously, Chicago had their thing, then the UK had their thing. But then, with everything that happened to Pop Smoke, that's when the world
Yeah.
started listening to drill.
Yeah, 100%.
I think, anyway.
And it's still growing. Like, I feel like
So, definitely.
there's just so much. It's obviously drill's been around for a while, but there's so many places that you can take drill that it hasn't been yet. Like, it's still in the UK anyway. I feel like the majority is still like the darker side, but there's so much room to grow now. It's like you can hear the guitar drill, you're hearing like more sample based ones.
Yeah.
Even like
It's getting a bit more melodic.
And I love that. I love the fact that it's evolving. I hope it just continues to keep evolving, because I feel like there's just so much places you can take drill.
Yeah. 100%. I was getting so sick of those piano melodies. Because there's only so many chords you can do that with. Because it's like two chords, isn't it? It's like C and G, and then C and G sharp. And then
you just half speed it.
And it's like there's only so many times you can do that. Yeah. So it needed to go somewhere, because otherwise people would have just got sick.
And I feel like Pop Smoke, 808 Mellow, shout out 808 Mellow, like those kind of beats, they were obviously drill, but they were a bit different, you know what I'm saying? Like they had the more clubbier bounce to it. It just sounded a little bit different, and I feel like that just really helped push the music a bit forward.
Definitely. He just brought a different vibe, didn't he? And like it was more of an entertaining vibe, whereas if you go back to like early like UK drill, it was just
100%. In the beginning,
like just people telling like
in the beginning, when it was starting to like
definitely
get popular, let's say like 2015, 2016, I wasn't even that keen on drill, I gotta be honest. Like I would listen to it, but for me it was just like, this is dark. Like it was proper like gangy. And then like it started moving into a different thing, and then that's when I was like, okay, I actually really like it now.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. Like I said, I grew up on listening to people like Nas and Mobb Deep. So then when you transition from that to like drill, what it was maybe 5 years ago, like I wasn't like the biggest fan of drill at the time. I always found the productions interesting though, just that like that dark vibe. But there was only so much you could listen to, because I felt like a lot of the content was the same.
100%, yeah.
If you know what I mean. But then as it evolved, especially with Pop Smoke, he brought like a more entertaining side to it. He obviously had like the dances in the video and everything. So yeah, man, he just like the what he did to drill was crazy.
It's
that's definitely
it's crazy to think like even in such a short period of time that he was around, he really like brought a completely different energy and really like elevated the whole genre. To the point where you had Drake jumping on UK drill, not even just drill, but UK drill.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. I think that was M1 on the beat production as well, wasn't it?
She jumped on a few actually. Yeah, it's mad.
That's crazy.
But it's good to see. I hope it continues to grow. You know, there was just I think it was the first time that drill went #1 in the UK last week. Yeah, shout out Gosha.
Gotcha production, the Russ.
That's mad though, isn't it? Yeah. I'm just hoping that. I know there's some people that think, drill's gonna die soon. It's just a fad. I'm actually hoping that it doesn't die out. I hope it just keeps evolving. Yeah. Because I mean, if you look at it, trap has been around for quite a while now. The same kind of sound, but it's still growing. Definitely. It's still going. Like, I don't see trap dying. You know what I'm saying?
No.
But in the UK, there's been.
No, you're right.
Genres that have died, and I'm hoping that it doesn't happen to drill.
Yeah. Well, grime feels like it's.
Yeah, man.
There.
There's been so many.
But I remember grime was like, if you remember, grime popped up when grime kind of like first came out, like way back, Like it was the thing, like it was popping off, and then it took a dip, and then it came back on a commercial level with people like Stormzy, Skepta. Remember them two were like huge at one point, and now it feels like Grime's just kind of dipped off, and drill's just taking over. But I think you're right. I can't see that. I don't know if I can see that happening to drill. I think because it's still got so many places it can go, I think it's just going to carry on evolving for a while. But I've had this conversation with a few people and been trying to work out, right, is it one of those things that's just going to die, or is it?
But you know what? I feel like the reason why, for example, like Grime died, I think Grime is bigger than just the music, but the music has died out. I think it's died because like people just stopped making it. And so if you've got no one creating it, then it just doesn't go anywhere. Then you just only have the individuals who's in that moment, like the Skepta and Stormzy of 2015. But then like, not many, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there was loads of people making it and it just wasn't reaching the forefront. But I didn't see like one YouTube tutorial around that time on Grime. You know what I'm saying?
No, I definitely didn't see any.
Well, at least there's lots of 100%. Drill. There's lots of content on drill, which definitely helps for the next generation to come through and keep on continuing to make drill. But there's none that I've really found on Grime, or if you go like to Funky House before that, I don't remember anything on that, and even Garage before that. Never know, innit? It could one day pop up again, but
I think when I've spoke to a few. Maybe. When I've spoke to a few like Grime producers, especially ones on the podcast, we've kind of spoke about this, and they've said like from working even in studio sessions with other Grime producers, they've got like an old school mentality of they don't want to move with the times, if you get me, and they also don't want to show other producers things. For example, one guy, I think it was Audio Slugs, he was telling me he was in a studio session with one guy and he did something to the beat. I don't know if he was using a plugin or whatever. And Audio Slugs was saying, "Oh, what was that you just did?" And he was like, "Nah, I can't show you this, bro." And he literally didn't show him, but he's like sat next to him in the studio. So if you can't even show people like in the studio, there's no chance that you're gonna jump on a tutorial and let everyone see. So I think apparently in like the Grime world, a lot of the producers have still got an old school mentality and they want to keep things to themselves. And they just
that's definitely gonna.
So I wonder if that's
100%. That's definitely got to kill the genre, because how is anyone else meant to learn and if take it forward? Do you know what I mean? No one can. If you can't even show that, then
of course
that's just not a growth mentality. So it's just gonna die right there, and then just kind of shit.
Yeah. It's mad, that, isn't it? Imagine if I was in the studio the other day and you were like hanging on.
Well, I can't show you this halftime plugin that everyone uses. I can't show you that. Yeah, that's mad. So what made you stop rapping to just focus on producing?
I think like when I was younger, I found it real easy to write. Because when you're younger, you have a lot more life experiences, like fun life experiences, if you know what I mean. Like you're out all the time with your boys, like you're just messing about. There's no like, you haven't got any got anything to worry about. You haven't got no bills to pay, no nothing. You're just a kid out here. So when I was young, I found it real easy to write. I could just like express myself easy. And then as I got a bit older, especially when I was working, I'm in the office all day, so what have I got to talk about? So I could talk about like the things on my mind, but it just got repetitive. I found that when I was writing, all I was writing about is how I can get out of the office, how I can like, just everything that I wanted to do. And yeah, it just kind of slowed down my writing and I just wasn't enjoying it more. And I think I'd already had it in my mind that I wasn't going to be a rapper because I'm working in a job and I listen to everyone. And I didn't really think that I could be one. So it was a lot of like, not having much to speak about and, mix that with not really believing in myself. I think that was the main thing as well. I didn't really believe in myself. So there was that, but then when I was producing, I found it easier to be creative because I was like, I didn't have to like sit and write something. I could just kind of click in notes, and it's just like, I just found it easier to express myself producing rather than writing.
That makes sense.
Because like producing, like life experiences definitely help, don't they? But at the same time, it's not like I have to write about a certain thing in music. It's just that you could just click in notes or bring in a sample and chop it off. It's just easier to get the creative juices flowing. So I think that was the main thing.
Do you think you'd ever start rapping again, or do you think that boat's kind of sailed for you?
Maybe. I don't know. If I do it, I might just do it as like some fun
Yeah.
YouTube content. You know what I mean? Just like
I'm sure that video would completely
clickbait
pop off.
title. Yeah, you never know. So I might have to do it. I've still got some old videos up on my beat channel, and people do find them. So I have like people that commenting on them saying, "Wow, this is 7 years ago. Like Jay didn't stop believing in himself." So it's kind of funny when people find them.
And I know you said you're from Huddersfield originally. Is there much happening in terms of the music scene? Because you were saying that you used to go to like clashes and stuff. Was there like a big grime scene up there?
I wouldn't say like big grime scene. I don't think there's much of a music scene. You have like people that are making maybe like UK hip hop. Obviously there's UK rap, but then there's UK hip hop, which is more of like the underground, like boom bap kind of sound. So you have people doing that. There's some artists that I've been working with recently that are getting into drill, and there's definitely drill artists from Huddersfield. A lot's changed since like from when I lived there, and there are drill artists there now, but I just don't really associate with many people from Huddersfield anymore, apart from like my close boys. But you know what it's like when you're kids, like you associate with so many different people. But now I don't really associate with anyone other than like music people or a couple of my close boys. But yeah, I think there is like a bit of a scene, but nothing major. I think people in Huddersfield, it's like that town mentality.
Yeah, small town.
You know what I mean?
Everyone kind of knows each other, I guess.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's one of them ones.
Fair. So I think we was talking about this when you came to the studio, but with the, I guess there's pros and cons, but with the like such a huge growth on your YouTube channel doing the UK drill beat stuff, you might come to like be labeled as a drill producer or someone like that. So have you tried to, well, first of all, do you consider yourself as like, I'm just a drill producer, or do you try and like branch out and try other things, or do you want to just be like a drill producer?
I honestly don't consider myself to be a drill producer, but if I'm being real, it's pretty much all I've been making recently. And that's just because, it's mainly because obviously I have the Type Beat channel, and with those channels you have to be consistent. You can't be uploading like drill one day, trap the next day, and then boom bap. Like you have to narrow it down to one thing. So when I'm making beats, I'm like, right, I need to upload to that channel, so it's got to be a drill beat. And when I'm doing tutorials, most of the time it needs to be a drill tutorial. And you know what it's like when you've got everything else that you need to do in the day. Once you're doing like sample packs and running a business, you quickly lose all that time that you need to actually make beats. So my time to make beats is actually kind of limited. But then when it comes to making beats, I'm like, I've got to do a drill one because I need to upload. So it kind of keeps you in a box, which is what I didn't really want to happen. But I do try things on my other channel. Like every now and again, I'll do a UK rap one, for example, or maybe I haven't done a boom bap one in a while, but I did a boom bap one a while back, and it did good views, to be fair. But yeah, I think at some point I need to try and break out of this thing where it's just drill, because what if drill does die? Then where does that leave me? So I'm kind of just moving with it at the moment. It's getting a bit more melodic, so right now I might do more of like the Central C tutorials, or more melodic vibes. So I'm just trying to move with it at the moment, and then every now and again I'll throw in like a UK rap, maybe a boom bap, something like that. But it's tricky because sometimes people will comment in the videos and say, oh, we want something else, like we need a different genre now. And then I'll make a different genre, but then the views just don't match up to the drill ones. So I think it's hard to please everyone, because you'll do the other videos and please like the few people that want something else. But then once you do that, it's like it punishes your channel because not everyone's looking for it. So it's hard to balance it between like just looking after them people or getting views
that's
for
true.
your channel.
No, that's true. Because I'd say I kind of have someone actually commented on my channel the other day. I'm basically a drill producer now, and that kind of like I don't know why, but it kind of got me thinking like, wow, am I a drill producer? I mean, I do make drill beats, but no, not really. But it's kind of like,
because you don't want to be put in a box, do you? You don't want to be like, oh, you're just the drill guy, because then people won't shout.
I guess so, but you know what? I'm in two minds about this, because I was speaking to someone recently, and we was talking about like prolific producers in the beginning, they kind of just known for one thing, and then they eventually branch out. Like, I don't know, maybe like, let's say if we take Timbaland, for example, he had that kind of like, maybe like that Indian kind of fluty style in the beginning. Then he started doing pop.
Yeah.
And it's like, is it a bad thing to just be one thing for a while? And then once you're known to be that guy in that specific realm, then you can try something new and maybe people will still listen. Or does there come a point where...
I think
But then there can become a point where it's like, you do one thing very well and you become the go-to guy. Like, you try something new. No one's trying to hear that. They're just trying to, nah, you do this, let's do that. It's like a very fine line that you kind of have to maneuver, innit?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think you're right though in saying like in the beginning, I think it is important to kind of stick to one lane. It's like you can be would you rather be like sick at one thing or just okay at a bunch of things? You know what I mean? Like, you'd probably rather just be like sick at one thing because then you've got more chances of like getting somewhere with that thing. But then, especially for us, and you're a good example of it because you've built up like a good audience where I feel like people will just watch you for you now. I think we spoke about that the other day as well. We're saying, all right, maybe in the beginning you do things that people are searching for to get the views, or you know that people are going to click on it. But the more you do something, or the more you get your face out there, and the more that you open up to people and communicate with your community, people will start watching you just for you. So like Timbaland, for example, like he obviously built up a sick reputation, and then maybe at some point, like whatever he does, because it's Timbaland's name, people will pay attention. So I think the main thing is just building up that personal brand to a point where whatever you do, people will pay attention.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's where the longevity is, and really the true value is in having a personal brand. Because I'm not gonna lie, I think about this quite often. One of my biggest fears is to, like, let's say I get a major placement, but then get known for one specific style or just one thing and that's it. Like, never being able to take it further than that one moment.
Yeah.
But you give yourself, I guess, almost like a one-hit wonder, but for production. I guess, like, the thing that gets you over that hill is having an audience, but at the same time, not just having an audience, but people being there just for you, rather than, I only came because he had this one hit and then they're gone. So yeah, I think there's more longevity when you, as you were saying, like, be a bit more personable in that.
Yeah, 100%. No, it makes sense, because then whatever genre you produce or whoever you produce for, like, you've got a core audience now. Whereas you could make a pop track with someone, but it might be different to usual stuff because you're making a lot of drill. But just because you've made that track with someone, like, your audience, because they fuck with you so much, they'll go out and check that as well, just because it's your track, it's the Ocean production. So 100%, I think if you've got that audience, then yeah, they'll kind of listen and appreciate, like, anything that you try and do. There's always going to be maybe one or two people that say, oh, nah, we don't like
that's
this.
how it is, man.
Drill, but out of them people, I think, like, you can't please everyone.
Exactly. There's no point even trying, you know what I'm saying? Like, you make one person happy, then this person's angry, then you switch. And it's a never-ending cycle.
Yeah.
It'll never work, yeah.
Of course. I wish you could please everyone. It would make our lives a lot easier. Like, I'd like to just try and please everyone in the comments, but you just can't. It's impossible.
But yeah, we was also talking about, as you were saying, you wanted to come to you to do your videos, your tutorials in more of a more in-depth kind of style, breaking down music theory and this kind of stuff so people can understand it more. How did you, because I know you didn't play an instrument when you was young, really. So how did you go about learning music theory, learning how to play the keys and that kind of stuff?
Mainly from a music teacher. So when I was at work, I had a piano teacher, because I just figured, like, when I was making beats before, I didn't know anything about music theory. I'd mainly chop up samples and make, like, boom bap beats, and I just try and go by ear. I'm like, oh, this bass sounds all right with this melody, so I'll use that. But I didn't understand anything about music theory, and I just knew, I was like, why not spend that bit of money? I've got the money. Why not pay for a piano teacher? Because it's going to help me in the long run. And yeah, she just kind of taught me all like the basics, like what scales are, about chord progressions. But when I first took lessons with her, she was more like classically training me, where it would be like sight reading. So each lesson she'd maybe teach me a bit of theory, but then there'd be like a paper with like, sheet music on it, and we'd play from that. So after a while I was like, I wasn't really translating that into like what I'm actually doing. The theory obviously helped, but I'm never going to sit down and like play some sheet music. So I stopped him. And it was around about the same time I left my job as well. So at that point I was like, I'm just cutting out all expenses for a little bit. And then once I started making money again, I was like, right, let me phone up the piano teacher. But now when I phoned her, I was like, yeah, I want to start him again, but I don't want to do any like sight reading. I just want to do maybe like ear training, chord progressions, just things like that. So every like week or so we just have a catch up, and she'll just help me out with a few things, but it's nothing like too crazy. But yeah, she definitely helped, because for example, like a melody tutorial, she was like breaking down progressions and scales, which I didn't really know before. So in my tutorial I then had the knowledge to like share with other people. So I'll have to shout out my piano teacher for a couple
Shout out to the piano teacher, man.
Definitely.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah. But I'm no expert like by any means. Like even still now, it takes me a while to like hear a sample and like figure out the bass notes, for example. Like I don't know, it just takes me a while.
I guess that comes with time, though, innit?
Yeah, I'm no expert with piano. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear you, because
but I'm no expert.
the first 6 months where I decided to take music production seriously, I actually decided to like learn the piano as well. But I was doing it the exact same you was doing it. So I was going through like grade books, and I guess like learning the scale and learning the sight reading. But honestly, I couldn't apply most of it, because it was almost like imitation. Like, I need to play this piece perfectly. I need to read and like, how hard does your finger hit the key and this kind of stuff. So yeah, I think there's way more value in what you were saying, like learning to play when it comes to music production anyway, learning to play by ear, learning chord progressions, learning scales and this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's more of a jazz approach to music. Like jazz musicians, they mainly like go by ear. Like I had one boy that was like showing me a few things, and that's how he learnt when he was young. He didn't do any like sight reading, no nothing. He just learned everything by ear. So I feel like if people want to find a music teacher, try and find one that will take more of a jazz approach. It'll be more beneficial for music production, because you'll just understand. You still go through like chords and everything, but you'll just understand it a bit more. You'll be able to translate your ideas a bit easier, rather than, like you said, if you're reading sheet music, it's like you're rehearsing that one thing, and then when it comes to a beat, all you know is them notes that you've learned in that one.
Yeah, and I think that's what their goal is different, because like when you're doing grades, you're literally rehearsing pieces for your exam. So when you come to your exam that day, you've kind of got it nailed down. But it's not. I'm sure though, let's say I got to grade 8 doing this, I'm sure like I'd probably be sick at the piano anyway. Do you know what I'm saying? But I mean, in the time that it takes me to get to grade 8,
definitely.
Let's just call it 5 years versus 5 years of playing by ear.
Yeah.
I'm sure like composition and making your own melodies, if you played by ear, you'd probably be a bit further ahead.
Yeah. One thing that helps as well, which I mainly focused on, and I heard someone else say it in a podcast recently, I forgot his name, but he was saying for producers, like if you want to learn piano or chords, just learn it in one scale. For example, C minor. If you know you're making dark melodies, then just use C minor, because you can figure out you can learn all the chord progressions for C minor, and then once it's in your like FL Studio or Logic, you can just pitch it up. You don't have to learn every single scale's progressions, although they'll give you a different vibe, but you can at least play in the chords on the keyboard and then pitch it up after. That's a beauty.
Oh yeah, that's the best. Exactly, man.
So yeah, that might be an easier way, because when you look at, like say for example, you're looking for a piano book and there's a whole list of scales and all the different chord progressions for each scale. All the chord progressions are the same for like each scale. It's just different notes, if you know what I mean. It's still like the same kind of pattern of numbers. So just learn it for one scale, then it's easy to pitch and change scales then. Yeah,
that makes sense. Recently as well, you've been starting to get placements and stuff like that. How has all that come about?
So placements, I think at the beginning of this year, Like I set myself some targets, and placements was definitely like part of them targets, because it's like last year I put so much energy into the YouTube channel and just improving my craft, like studying, doing mixing courses and everything. And then at the beginning of this year I thought like my beats are actually alright now, like they're pretty decent, so maybe I can send them out. So yeah, I set myself them targets to get placements, and I've been trying it a few different ways. Like sometimes I'll network on Instagram, like the classic thing of like following like Grime Daily, Mixtape Madness, start following like the rappers that you actually like, and just show them some love. I just like comment on the videos if I was feeling it, or just drop a message and not even ask for something, just drop them a message, show some love, and just leave it at that. And over time you kind of just, if you do that like enough times and they're responding back to you, you kind of build up like a small relationship with this person, or they at least know your name. So then at one point you can mention that you're a producer and you want to send some beats out, or some beats to them, and they're more likely to listen to them because you've built up a tiny bit of rapport with them, if you know what I mean. So there's that through Instagram. One thing that I did like early on when I was just trying to get my name out there is I hosted a rap contest on my Instagram. So I had some beats. I had like 3 beats, and then I had I can't remember what the prizes were, but I did a beat battle on Instagram. I just invested in it a little bit. Like the prize was like some beats, obviously, and then I paid Gummy Beats to announce the winner for me as well. So I had like a big name in there, like involved. And then I was reaching out to like all these rappers saying I've got this rap contest on, I want them to get involved, blah blah blah. And a couple of people did, and one of them that got involved was a guy called P Loco. And since then, like we've just been chatting. He's a drill artist as well. Since then we just carried on chatting. He's dropped a few things like Mixtape Madness to my beats. We've got one dropping this month on Grime Daily. So yeah, I think when you develop them connections like early on, and not just try and go for like the biggest names in the game, if you can find an artist that's a little bit more low key, they're going to be more open to hearing your beats to start off with. And if this artist grows, you're just going to grow with them. So that's how I was seeing it. I wanted to find a couple artists that I could kind of grow with. And then for the bigger placements that I've had, one of them, I had the Devilman one. So the Devilman one was a guy, Westy. So I'll have to shout out Westy. So obviously, I don't know if you've seen his page, but he runs that Everyday Empire. He uploads like other producers, beats and everything. Oh, of course you know him, actually. We spoke before, haven't we? And yeah, he kind of helps other producers out. So like there's like a little group, so we'll share like loops with each other, collab and everything. And yeah, one collab that I did with another producer, Juxter, in that group, Westy sends these out for placements. So Devilman actually bought like 3 beats off me. He released one with like the music video, but he's still got some more to drop. So yeah, a couple were through Westy, and then the other big ones that I told you about, didn't I? But I can't really mention anything right now. So basically, this person's it was one artist manager. So this girl called Diana Drill, she's actually doing sick. She's just been signed to Columbia.
Yeah.
She's getting like good numbers. Her manager just reached out to me on a random one, just kind of came across my beats on YouTube and was fucking with them, and just started chatting to me. We had a call and everything, and he was just like, I've got a couple of acapellas, I want you to try and work something. So he sent me some acapellas from Diana Drill and a different artist that he was working with, and yeah, started off making some melodies, sending them to him, and he was like, yeah, I'm feeling this one. Finished the beat around the acapella, and yeah, I managed to get a few placements that way. But then the one artist, Diana Drill, she's got a big feature, the one I was telling you about. So they just ended up chatting somehow through Instagram DMs, and the guy was willing to work with her, and it just so happened to be my beat. So when that drops, like that's gonna be the biggest
that's
one,
amazing
like,
as well.
far. But it's one of them ones I was saying to you, I was just like, you know what, I haven't really mentioned anything about it. I didn't want to like post it or anything, and in my mind it hasn't happened. I'm just like, all right, cool, it's out there. If it drops, it drops. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. I'm not trying to like get excited by it.
No, I
like,
hear you.
Just the fact that he's like heard my beat and actually rapped on it, I'm like kind of gassed by that, and it's still like a personal achievement. And it's just one of them. If it comes out, it's looking
Fingers
like it's gonna
crossed,
come
man.
out, but if it doesn't, it's just one of them. You just keep moving. Appreciate that, man. But yeah, if it doesn't, you just keep moving, don't you? You can't just like put all your hopes in one thing.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Because
yeah, man, I had something kind of similar. Well, I knew it wasn't a placement because I didn't really get like any contact for it to be dropped or anything like that. But I saw the snippet, and part of me was like, yes, that's sick. Someone. It was D Block, so it was like, yeah, D Block jumped on it. Yes, that's sick. Yeah.
D Block Europe?
No, Europe. D Block Europe. So I was like, yes, they actually rapped on my beat. Someone's actually rapped on my beat. But then it never dropped, so it's like,
yeah,
well, it just doesn't kind of mean anything.
So how did you see the snippet?
Yeah, Young Ads always does lives where he just like he raps over them.
Right.
But if you're basically, he says that if he's previewing the song on live, then it's just never gonna get dropped. So it's just one of those things where it's like,
right.
I think he's probably one of those artists that has a lot of songs anyway. You know what I'm saying? Just like volume upon volume. So it's just probably one of those ones that are just gonna forever sit on the hard drive. But I get snippets a lot, but it's like it kind of doesn't mean anything, innit? It doesn't mean anything until it drops.
Yeah.
So I hear you. I see what you're saying.
I suppose so, but at the same time, you can look at it as a personal achievement, because just the fact that they've got these beats and they're rapping over them, it just shows.
Yeah, it shows that
quality,
you're definitely at,
you know what I mean? So it's still
at a certain level now. Like if someone's able to rap on your beat, but to be honest, it's kind of subjective. It's really subjective because I always think about like, all right, we go on the Rap Caviar. None of the beats are like insane. Well, most of the beats, not maybe say all of them, but like some of the beats are just not that crazy. You could probably do it within like the first 100 beats you've ever made, but it's just about they managed to get Cardi B on it or the Baby on it, so it can pop. So it's all subjective anyway. But at least it's a personal win in the terms of like, wow, someone of that caliber jumped on my beat, so I know that I'm progressing.
Yeah, just what you were saying there about, you know, like Rap Caviar beats not being that good, some of them. Even like chart tracks that you listen to sometimes, like anything that comes on the radio, like a lot of the times the beats aren't like crazy. You're not thinking, wow, this is the best beat I've ever heard. Like you probably know that you've personally made some better beats, but that just shows how like connections can be more important than your actual, or like connections or your personal brand can be, it's just so much stronger than actually having talent. You could spend 10 years like just making beats like non-stop every day, but if you haven't got the personality to like go out there and like speak to people or even network on social media or just get your face out there and build up a personal brand, then these artists just aren't gonna find your beats on your hard drive.
It's as a music producer, really music is like 50% of it, and the other side of it is non-music. So that's networking, that's reaching out to people, that's the marketing side, and that's something I wish I realized like way earlier anyway. Like you have to, in order to get placements anyway, you have to really kind of like put yourself out there and be known. But that's the thing what I love about it as well, is that there's no rules. On the charts, you've got songs that you think, wow, how the hell did they ever come up with this? This is so creative. And then you got ones which is like 3 notes on the piano and 808 and some basic drums. And it's still a vibe.
Like a lot of them Tay Keith beats, it's just like simple piano, isn't it? And
pretty much.
Hitting drums.
But it still bangs.
But if you imagine them in the studio, I think the difference is a lot of these people will be in the studio like cooking up with these artists. So whereas we're at home making beats, we might not have an artist with us, so we keep adding to the beats because we think, oh, it's not finished yet. But if you're in the studio, you need to cook up quick. You've got an artist that's kind of writing like on the spot. You might add in like just a couple sounds and then they're like, right, I'm ready, get me in there. So then you know when to stop. So I feel like maybe that environment helps you just tune things back a little bit.
Yeah, because
simple. Because you've got that artist, that's
exactly 100%. I think when you're in those environments, then the goal shifts. It's not about just making a sick beat. You want to make a sick song. So you're more than just a beat maker in that moment. You're more of like, you have to kind of just like get out of your head of, I need to make the best beat. You kind of just like, no, I need to make the beat where the rapper can shine on and make this into a full, you know, a natural product, which sounds sick, a natural record.
That's when you become a producer, right, rather than a beat maker.
For sure. Is placements, is that the goal for you? Is that something that you're trying to pursue, or is it like, you don't mind, you kind of just doing the YouTube thing and if it comes, it comes.
I mean, I would like placements. I'd be lying if I said that I don't want them, because I do, and I think it's more of a personal achievement thing off of the clout. But it's tricky because if you look at it from like a business standpoint, like I see more benefits doing the online thing and just being in control of your own shit. But I feel like, yeah, getting placements, I imagine it to be a better feeling, because a beat is an unfinished song, isn't it? So I do like to hear artists on my beats, and there's just something about having a plaque.
It looks so magical when you see people have it.
I'd like to come into the room and like, yeah, it's just like all your hard work is just like put into this plaque. So yeah, like 100%, I do want placements. But for me personally, I just look at it as there's only so many hours in the day, so it depends where I want to spend my energy. And right now, the main focus is growing the YouTube channel and building up an online presence. And I feel like with that will come opportunities for placements as well. Whereas if I didn't do this and I put all my energy into placements, like we were saying before, I feel like that's just out of your control. Because you can work hard, you can try and build up these connections, you might get these beats to artists, and then they might record 10 tracks to your beats, and those tracks don't even make an album. So just the thought of that is just, it kind of puts me off. So yeah, I do put like a little bit of time into chasing them, but not as much as I should. But like there's only so many hours in the day, so if I put in like an extra few hours every day trying to chase placements, then it means that I don't have as much time doing like the YouTube thing. So it's hard finding that balance. How about you? Have you kind of struggled to find that balance?
In some ways, because for a long time YouTube was my priority, and the more I've got into this, like the further I've gone, for me personally, placements is important, and I really want to get placements because in the beginning of all of this, I wanted to be a music producer, not just someone who can make cool beats and do just that. I wanted to. The dream was always to make records that live on forever, innit? So for me, placements is important, and there's no blueprint to it. Everyone's journey is different, and so you can kind of decide which route you want to go. Are you going to try and like do loads of sessions? Are you going to move to the big city and try to meet everyone and go networking? Are you going to do the whole sample thing and make loops?
Yeah.
And with all these kind of different directions you can take, all of them take time. And it takes time away from other stuff. So the time that I'm making samples, it takes away from the time that I could have a session. But then the time that I'm spending 10 hours in a session with someone who might not even drop the song. I could have been making a sample that I could send to 5 other producers and maybe they take it somewhere. So it's all, the balance is like, it's all over the place, isn't it? Until you find one which works.
I guess it comes down to which is more important to you. Like
and what do you enjoy more? Because some people just prefer to make samples, where some people enjoy the development side, where some people, they're naturally good at networking and talking to people. So going to these places and, mingling, it's natural for them. And so that's what works, isn't it? That's what's good for them. So yeah, I'm definitely trying to find, you know what? Honestly, part of me thinks that I might not even ever find the balance, the perfect balance. I've just got to find out a way to make it work. And however it works is however it works, isn't it? If that even makes sense.
Yeah. I suppose you can only focus on that makes sense. You can only kind of focus on, or you should really just focus on like the present time. Like you don't know what's going to happen in the future, but if you wake up and you feel like, right, today I feel like chasing placements, then maybe chase placements if that's going to make you happy that day. Or if the next day it's like, you know what, I just want to cook up samples, then do that. But I think if you try and structure it out where it's like, all right, for this many hours next week I'm going to chase placements, for this many hours I'm going to do this, then it gets like a little bit messy or a bit out of hand. But if you just kind of live like in that moment, it's like, right, today I want to do this because I'm getting this vibe, then maybe that's just the easier way to treat it.
No, for sure, man. So yeah, what's next for Jay Cactus? Even though we said you got to live in the present moment, what's the future goals? What's up next for Jay Cactus?
Well, I'm obviously chasing that.
It's soon coming, man.
I definitely want that.
Well, how much subscribers are you on now?
I should be hitting 50 soon, so I'm I think I just hit 44 today, so not too far off, like halfway. So yeah, I don't know when. At the beginning of the year, I kind of set my targets, and I was like, if by the end of the year I hit 50k, then that's my that's my goal hit. But it's looking like I might hit that like real soon. So yeah, man, I don't know when that 100k plaque's coming, but that's definitely one of the one of the focuses right now. So there's that. I'm gonna be building up the other side of my business a bit more too, where I like selling beats online. Cause like right now, like most of it is from like drum kits, sample packs, like the YouTube side for producers. But then there's also the other side of the business, leasing beats to rappers online. And I definitely want to build up that side. So I've just had some updates done to my website. I'm going to be putting like a lot of email marketing in place for that. So yeah, that's one thing. And then after that, obviously keep building up the catalog on the website with the packs and everything. But yeah, I think maybe just like advancing my videos a little bit. And I just want to keep looking at ways to improve like, my content for people. Definitely meet more people as well, like with that trip down to meet you and RXR. Like I like doing stuff like that. It just breaks me out of the routine. Because sometimes because I've got this setup like in my room. Like every day I'm coming up to my room and making beats, doing everything from here. I rarely see outside unless I'm going to the gym in the morning. So I just want to keep doing stuff to kind of like break out of the routine. And because we're out of lockdown, like, well, almost, I feel like I need some new life experiences, man. I want to like
100%,
travel.
man. It's so necessary.
I want to see some shit.
We've been in lockdown for a long time, so it's gonna be good to finally like live normally, live like how we was living 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Actually go to a restaurant.
Yeah. Definitely. Like a holiday or something. I just want to get away and just have some life experiences. And I feel like when you do that, you come back
for sure, man.
Refreshed, don't you?
Bring a different energy.
Like you're ready to work again, and you've got these new experiences. Yeah, 100%. Because it can get real repetitive. Even though I love what I do, like some days it can get a bit repetitive in a way. So yeah, I think that, and then placements for sure. Like if we're talking about like long term, then I do want placements there. I do want to see that as a personal achievement. I do want the plaques, and to work with other artists. If I'm being honest, I don't 100% love studio sessions. Like,
fair enough.
I feel like I enjoy them, but I think I'm so used to cooking up from home. Like I've got my setup. I know everything. I'm so fast with like FL Studio. Like I've got everything here. Everything's calm. But then as soon as you throw me into a different environment, like even when I went to your studio, because we're using Logic and a Mac, I was like, I'm actually like struggling here.
It's very different when you're outside your comfort zone and you have to still like be creative. It can be tough.
Yeah. So I can't like it threw me off, and I'm quite like a technical producer as well. Like I click in a lot of stuff. I'm quite fast with the shortcuts and everything. But then once you're on like a new like I was what do you use Logic, right? Like when we were using Logic, I was just asking you every 2 minutes, like, wait, how do I do this?
That's exactly how I am when I'm with FL guys, man. It's not easy and it's frustrating as well because you think to yourself, I could just do this 2 seconds in the FL Studio, but in Logic it's like, where am I going?
Yeah. Of course, yeah. It's like you feel like a new producer again, like you're just learning everything from scratch. But yeah, I think that's the only reason like sometimes it's like I don't like stepping out of my comfort zone, even though I know it's good to get out your comfort zone, but then there are some limitations. But I think that just comes with practice. Like you just need to throw yourself in different environments and just get used to being out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think it's definitely something that helps you become just a better overall producer. Even if you don't do it all the time, just the fact that you've done it before, you know, like how to deal with that uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna lie, when I first started doing these sessions, I would get like mad anxious because anyway, from the artists that I was working with, they weren't like what I do. They weren't trap rappers or drill rappers,
Yeah.
they would always come in with like, I need to this from here, I want this kind of thing here, and this kind of thing here. And I have nothing like that.
Yeah.
I don't, like, sometimes I might have a sample that could fit, but if not, then you kind of have to create on the spot. Then you're under pressure and you're like, I'm not even the best piano player or guitar player. So now you're even more like, oh shit, like, need to click this in, need to like play this in. So it's definitely a big pressure.
Have you found that to get easier though? Like, do you still have that anxiety? Or is it still there, but maybe not as much?
That's a good question. It might be there, yeah, but I know how to deal with it. And I tell you what, yeah, like sometimes before a session, I might be a bit anxious, but then as soon as I'm in the session, because I'm so present, it's like after the session, I'm always to myself, why the hell was I so like, why was I feeling that way? Why was I so anxious? Why was I putting so much pressure on myself? It's calm, like just have more, have more self-belief. I think that's the word, yeah. You don't have to doubt yourself so much. Once you're in the session and you get into it, then it's calm. As I said, I'm not like the best piano player or guitar player, but when you're in the moment, no one cares. It's like, just create something. If it sounds good, it sounds good. Right. Keep it moving. Yeah. And that's something that's probably like my biggest takeaway with more especially being in a session with an artist that has like a specific vision and you want to make something towards a specific vision. Bro, no one cares about if you know music theory or not. Like, or whatever. All you have to do is just like create. So just give yourself permission to create and don't be so harsh on yourself, I guess.
Yeah. It's easy to put pressure on yourself.
It's easy, yeah.
Same with anything. It's like, it's always the build up, the lead up to that one thing that is more like worrying than the actual thing. In anything you do, it could be like a podcast. I remember starting podcasts and I was like, the build up of like setting everything up and like preparing your questions or whatever. That was like, I'd get like mad anxiety. But then once I'm actually on and I'm just chatting, it's like, this is just so normal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think one thing we do, I don't know, like, maybe as producers, but not every producer is like this, but I just speak for myself, I guess, but I tend to overthink stuff. And that is like such a big killer. I can't help it because I'm naturally just an overthinker, but you just don't need to overthink everything. You just got to like kind of cut that and just try and be in the moment. And that definitely helps.
It's definitely one bad trait that producers have all got. I think we're all similar in that sense. Me especially, like I know I overthink fucking like everything, like real bad. But yeah, I think you are right. Do you do anything? Let me ask you this: do you do anything to look after, like anything specific to kind of look after your mental health, like maybe meditate, gym?
I'm not gonna lie, yeah. Gym has been, in the last year, going to the gym has helped me like so much. Yeah. Because before I was a guy and I used to hate gym. I hate lifting weights. I hate the whole aspect of going to the gym and being in that kind of culture. I prefer to just work out by doing a martial art or being active in that way. But the more I got into it, the more like I liked it because it's all about progression, innit? Every time you go to the gym, you're lifting heavier weights.
Yeah.
And a couple weeks, months into it, you see the progress in your body and how you feel. And I love that. It almost becomes like a big release for me. I go to the gym, get my pump in, go to the studio. I've got mad energy now for the day. I'm good. So gym is something that definitely helped me.
Yeah.
I understand it's not for everyone, but I think if you can build up a momentum with the gym, then you might grow to enjoy it like I did. Meditation is something that I do.
Yeah.
But it's a thing that I'll be consistent with for a week. And then the next 2 weeks, I might forget about it. And then I'll be consistent for a month. Then the next month, I forget about it. But meditation is something that generally helps as well.
Yeah.
And I think just constantly being in these uncomfortable positions, well, not positions, like these situations, being a bit more uncomfortable. Like me, okay, in the beginning, I had anxiety with sessions. So fuck it, let's do more sessions now. And we're going to kind of just train that out of you so you don't have to be so nervous and overthinking stuff in the beginning. So I think things like that help. Like you got to be uncomfortable. That's where the growth happens, as they say. And as cliche as it sounds, it's really, really true.
Definitely.
So I think those things help.
Yeah.
But like I said, gym might not be for everyone, but if you can find some sort of exercise, and I think exercise is really important, if you can find that, whether it's, I don't know, football, basketball, whatever, I think it definitely helps, man. What about you? What do you do for your mental health?
Gym definitely. That's been the main thing. Because even like through lockdown when gyms were closed, I tried to do a few home workouts, but it just wasn't really my thing. And cause I'm like naturally slim, I just lost so much weight through lockdown. And I kind of noticed it having an effect on my mental health. Like I wasn't really feeling like as confident as usual. Maybe just the little things like overthinking more than usual. And then as soon as gyms are back open and I can kind of channel that energy and push it, like get it all out in the morning, like before I start work, then I just 100% you feel better. So definitely the gym. Been going on like a few runs, but I wouldn't say I like running that much. I always feel good after, but when I'm out there, I don't actually like running that much. So I think I was doing that more when gyms were closed, just because I wanted to get out and do something. But now that gyms are back open, it's like, yeah, I'd rather do that than go for a run. So that. One thing I've been trying recently is, I want to say cold water therapy, but I've really just been turning the shower on full cold.
Oh man, I heard that like really wakes you up, innit?
Yeah, I've heard it from a few different people.
Yeah, the Wim Hof method.
He's got like a whole book on it and everything. Yeah. So I know one of my boys has been doing it for a while, and the guy that has been doing it with him, like who introduced him to it, it kind of like changed this guy's life, and I just found it kind of fascinating. He was like, this guy was like an alcoholic. He had like so many like life problems and everything, and he read like the Wim Hof book, and then one day he just went to like the reservoir like near him, and he did like cold water therapy, did like the breathing and everything, then went for like a cold dip in the reservoir, and then after he was saying like he's never drunk again since then. Every morning he's just come and like gone for a cold dip, and he's just kind of channeled his energy into that, and just like, I don't know what it did to him. I don't know if it was just like a huge wake up or what, but it changed him. And obviously that's like an extreme case, but I just thought, no, it actually sounds like kind of interesting. I wonder what it would do to me. So I did it. I went in like a cold reservoir dip. Obviously I wasn't an alcoholic before, so I didn't come out with any like major changes, but I think the main thing is it just like wakes you up for the day. That's what I've found with like the showers. Because sometimes you might be tired in the morning, even after a shower, because it's warm, you're like comfortable out here. When you get out, you're still a bit tired. But if at the end of your shower you just put it on full cold and go under that for a minute, there's
even
no
thinking
chance
about
you feel
that is like,
after that, you're just awake.
I tried to do it, but
it sounds like it's hard.
I turned it a little bit and I was like,
yeah,
nah, fuck it, it's too cold. Cancel.
Yeah, you have to like kind of ease your way in. After a few days,
just adjust to it.
Kind of a little bit, yeah. You get less of a shock when you first go in. It's still fucking cold, but yeah, it's less of a shock. So I want to say that's one thing. I can't really say it's made like a huge impact on my mental health or anything, but it definitely gets me up for the day. You just feel a bit more energized after you've done it, so it's got to be doing something.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah, but they're the two main things really. I haven't really tried. I think I've tried like meditating just with them apps. I think there's one called like Headspace. I think I tried. I was the same as you though. Like I tried for like a day or two. I was like, it's okay, but then I just never got around to doing it again.
No, I feel like meditation does help. It's really about. Well, I do kind of two different ones. I do one where it's more about gratitude and visualization. I've been doing this one for years though.
Right.
And that's probably the only one that I'm consistent with. I still do that like 5 times a week. But then the other kind of form of meditation is just literally just sitting there and being like present, not thinking about anything.
Yeah.
And that one's more of a challenge because your mind wants to wander. I physically want to get up because it's boring as fuck, but you have to just like keep bringing it back. And that can help. That helps. I just haven't done that one in a while.
Some people like who meditate a lot have said it's not really about not thinking of anything. It's just about like sitting and just if them thoughts come, just move with them thoughts and let them pass. But you're saying it's more about Are you saying that you have to kind of like clear your mind and just not think of anything? Because I feel like you can never just not think of anything, can you? There's always something.
It's not me like, okay, what am I going to eat for dinner? It's more like the thought of dinner will pop up, but I'm not trying to entertain it and go deeper into it. I just kind of let it pass along, if that makes sense.
Right.
So that's what I mean by like having more of a clear...
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like a clear kind of mind, I guess.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah, that makes sense then. Have you ever tried like yoga?
I used
like
to,
hot yoga or anything?
but it wasn't really like a mental health thing. It was more just like enjoying, enjoying the exercise a bit more, innit? It was more just for like exercise purposes and health and that. But yeah, man, some days it's, to be honest, I just try. I think one of the big things that I've just been realizing is that the reason why I might feel bummed out in a day or uncreative or unproductive or all these kind of things is because I just put too much pressure. And I know it's easier said than done to stop putting pressure on yourself, because in some ways, like, you have goals and you want to meet them, so you need to keep up the discipline and everything. But at the same time, music is fun. You got into it because you enjoyed it and you liked the process and that. So you kind of have to take the pressure off, like, trying to always perform, trying to always make the best beat you've ever made or made the best song you've ever done. You kind of just have to, again, be present and just let it happen, let it come out of you naturally. And it's not easy because I don't always get to this point. There's days where I still put pressure on myself and it doesn't come out well, but I'm always trying to reach that point where I'm just like completely in the moment and just let it happen. And if it comes out good, it does. If it doesn't, no harm. We're going to keep making anyway, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think it's hard to get to that state, isn't it? Because, like for me, when I was kind of trying to do my research, like watching interviews with producers, you hear like so many people saying, I have to be working like non-stop, no breaks, you know what I mean? So in my head, I'm always like, I can't rest, I can't like, if I'm chilling like with my girl watching TV, I'm feeling guilty, I need to be checking my DMs, like responding to people. Like, I feel like if I'm not doing something that is related to music or my business, then like I'm gonna lose something or I'll feel guilty. But what I'm trying to learn is, you know what, sometimes when you just have a day off and you just do nothing, sometimes that can be really productive in itself. With a fresh mind, and like, you know what, I'm relaxed now, so I can be more productive the next day. So it's one thing that I'm still trying to learn, but yeah, I feel like people do need that time off sometimes. It's not always about just putting in 12 hours a day and just doing it non-stop, never having a day off, because your brain will just turn to mush. You need to have that time off.
It's like a fine line, because you do need that go-getter kind of attitude in it. Like, I'm gonna like go for it. But
yeah, you gotta be hungry.
You can't. I don't know. Maybe some people can have that 24/7. I just feel like you just need to.
Yeah.
At the same time with that, not always just work hard, but just work smarter and just have fun with the process.
That's actually true, because someone could be working for 12 hours a day, but then someone else could work for 4 hours
and just
a day
accomplish just as much
and achieve more than the person. Yeah. So just because you're putting in hours doesn't mean that you're actually like going somewhere closer to where you want to be, because you might be doing it in like a non-smart way, if that makes sense.
But I say this with like whatever works for you in it, because there's really just no rules in this. Some people can put in 15 hours a day, making beats all day, and that's great for them. And some people can do less hours and, you know, still get the same results. So it's all down to you, really, innit?
Yeah. Like, everyone's got a different story. Any like producer who's made it will tell you a different story about how they made it. Some people do the YouTube thing. Some people like network with artists. Some people, you know what I mean? There's just like a different path for everyone. So you're 100% right.
What works for you?
Finding what you enjoy, what works for you, and don't worry about what anyone else is doing. I think that's one big thing that we do as well. We worry about
100%.
other people. Like, we look at what other people are doing and like, oh, he's done this, so I need to do that. Or this is his path, I need to follow them steps. When it's not about that. Like, you just need to dial it back a little bit and just have a think about what you want to do, what makes you happy, what your path wants to be, rather than focusing on everyone else.
For real, man. Well, I appreciate you jumping on the podcast, man. I know you're a busy guy, but I appreciate it, man. Where can people find you if they don't know where to find you on like YouTube and Instagram and that?
Yeah, so YouTube, the main channel is Jay Cactus TV for the tutorials. The other channel is just Jay Cactus for beats. And then Instagram is Jay Cactus Music, because someone, I don't know who he is, someone's got the Jay Cactus username. I've messaged him, he's got like no posts, annoying. No nothing, but I can't get the name back. But yeah, just they're the main ones really. I've just joined TikTok as well. I think that's just under Jay Cactus.
Sick, man. Well, thanks for coming on, man. It's been good.
But I appreciate you having me on.